Hey, I watched a guy online taking one of these apart last night, and guess what? On his, once he took these four bolts out, he was able to get this cover to come off. He had to bang on it to get it to come off, but it came off. So this cover is supposed to apparently slide off. So I think the rear of the shaft is stuck in this bearing cup. So I'm going to try giving it some bangs and being a little bit rougher with it and see if I can't force this back off. If that doesn't work, then I will take this nut off with a impact wrench, or I'll attempt to, using some extra large screwdrivers and prying, and it's starting to separate. I flipped it over and I'm prying on this side. Getting there. Wow, now that I get this apart, I can really see what a mess it is inside. It's just loaded with grease and dirt, diesel. Yeah, it smells like diesel fuel's been leaking in there. Also, you can see the windings actually attached to that circuit block right there. And that's held in with screws from this direction. So, looks like what you're supposed to do is pull this. I'm going to call it an armature, even though I might not have the terminology correct. This whole coil, the windings here, as a pack. It's probably supposed to slide out of this half of the case so that you can separate it from the well, I can see the brushes fell out, and the only thing keeping them in against the spring tension was the fact that this was in position. So I get a feeling this is definitely not the right way to have disassembled this. It's going to be interesting how I'm going to get those brushes back in, put this all back together if I try and reassemble it. I can't get to these nuts to disconnect these three wires to separate this whole back half. I'm thinking if I get this shaft out of the way, I can move this just enough to maybe get the wrench in there. So I think I'm going to take the pulley off. I'm going to try an impact wrench with a 15/16 inch socket. So I'm going to use my electric 1/2 inch impact wrench and try and get this nut off. And I'm going to wear a heavy leather glove to try and keep a hold of the fan blade without cutting my hand up, and see if we can't get that nut off. I'm going to go under the assumption that that is a standard right hand thread. And it is. That's coming off. Not easily, but it is. That's strange. That nut fought me all the way. It wasn't like it broke loose and then started spinning freely. It just was tight all the way, and now that I got it off, I can see that the threads are really badly damaged right at the end there. That's kind of weird. Of course, now this pulley doesn't want to come off, so rigged up a puller, but because of the bevel on the V-belt pulley, it keeps wanting to slip off, so I put my big C-clamp on it and see if that'll work. That's funny. The pulley's coming off, but the fan blade's staying behind. I actually thought this was attached to this, but apparently it's not. And now my puller bottomed out before I was able to pull it all the way off. Oh man, this is really turning out to be a royal pain. I can actually wiggle this pulley back and forth a little bit on the shaft, but it won't pull past this point. It's almost like those damaged threads are what's holding it now. I don't know. This is a really complete waste of time. In case you're wondering why I'm still messing with this, I just kind of really wanted to take it apart and just out of morbid curiosity see how it was put together and see if there was something obvious I could do about it. But I mean, this thing's really filthy inside, and it looks like it's just gotten a ton of dirt over the years in here. And last night I went online and I found on Napa's website I believe that this is a 10 SI series alternator, which was really popular on the 70s. And anyways, I think I found an alternator through Napa that remanufactured is 55 bucks. So it's almost crazy to even bother dealing with this. The other thing I could do is I could go to a boneyard and see if I could find one. But I don't know, I'd be curious to see what they'd want for one at the boneyard. You know, if they want 40 bucks for a boneyard alternator, it'd be kind of silly to buy that, not knowing the condition of it, when you could have a remanufactured alternator for 55 bucks. So I guess the first thing to find out would be whether or not the $55 one at Napa would work. See if it's the right configuration. And then the other thing would be whether or not the boneyard would be willing to sell one for less than, 30 bucks. Maybe for 20 or 25 bucks I might take a chance on one. Oh, my 1/4-inch drive extensions on there, I can just clear this enough to get this 1/4-inch screw out, which I notice goes all the way through right to here. I don't see the other one coming out there, so I'm thinking this is the only one of those two that I see on this side that's holding it in. And then there's a nut on the other side. I'll try that in a sec. Now I turned it over and I can move it just out of the way enough to maybe get that nut off. I think I got this whole assembly right here loose. Yeah, that looks like that might actually come off. But I got a wire strap, metal strap, makes the connection over to here, so I'm going to take this one out. Yep, that, let me get this out of the way. So now the only thing holding it on is this wire that goes to what sure looks like a condenser. So that's obviously acting as a capacitor for this circuit. Be it ever so horrid, I managed to get it apart. So this just goes through, feed through, and this is your battery connection. I'm going to get this off and I'll clean it up. So what do we have here for components? We've got one, and then we've got this assembly here, which I'm going to assume this is the diode pack. You get the 3 connections to it, and I believe that, I believe this is the diode pack. And then we've got the brushes that contact these surfaces here, 2 of them. And this one, there's one inboard and there's one outboard. And then that looks like just a couple of screws, and that whole pack will come off. And then we've got these connections here. So I'm assuming the reason why we weren't getting any continuity from the terminal for the white wire could have been one of these brushes. I wonder if this one was not. No, that doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I like to pride myself on knowing a lot of stuff, but I don't really know exactly how this works. I think I can find a schematic diagram that actually shows the way this is internally wired together. I might take a look at it just for giggles, but again, I don't really foresee me having any luck putting this together again. I'm took it apart in a very unorthodox way, I'm sure, and I'm sure that wouldn't help in reassembly.